Welcome to one of these small introduction films where we are looking at the question, how to create engaged readers. We are trying to look at this question from different perspectives. And we do not aim to find one question to this big question, of course, but we hope that we can look at this question together and maybe find some solutions or some ways to engage more readers, especially non-readers or adults who struggle to read, children who struggle to read, or young people that fall out of their reading fluency. In this video, we will look at the question connected to books for everyone. Why do we make, or why do we try to find universally designed books? Books that invite more readers into the joy of reading. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Hanna Bovim Bugge, and I have a master in literature from the University of Oslo, and I'm also a literature advisor in the reading organization Books for Everyone, where I've been working since 2008. We are looking at key factors for successful reading. The first one of them, inner motivation to read. Why read? The second, finding the right book. The third, easy access to book. We believe that we need to make it easy to find books in order to read. If you are not used to reading, why should you walk into a bookstore in the first place? So we need to make sure we have books in schools or books in places where a lot of people meet. For example, to invite people into the library and have, for example, engaging reading activities for adults, for families, for non-readers. In this video about universally designed books, we are looking at the factor 2, finding the right book. Or motivation to read. How can we motivate people into the joy of reading? First, inner motivation. A number of international studies show that pupils' internal motivation is very, very important for the amount of reading skills and achievements. And maybe we can all recognize that. If you don't want to read, if you're not engaged from the inside, why should you read? The American researcher, Linda Gambrell, she's looked through a lot of this research and she has gathered everything into an article that I really recommend called 7 Rules of Engagement. How to engage people into reading. And one of her findings is this one. Pupils are motivated when they feel that they have mastered some difficult texts. Even readers with reading difficulties want the experience of mastering demanding texts, which means that they relatively often choose texts that are too difficult. So, we need to find this balance because if the text is too difficult, the reader is more likely to give up. But if it's too easy, the reader loses motivation. We need to find the balance of motivation and mastering. Some Norwegian researchers seem to have found something similar. Berge and Fagernes have written this article about I'm not stupid. And their finding is this. Adults with dyslexia, they were skeptical towards reading books that were perceived as too adapted, partly because they felt they were being devaluated as readers. Many of the participants in the study felt provoked by the layout of adapted books because it gave them the experience of being perceived as stupid or different and reminded them a bit of kindergarten. So, what can we draw from this? What have these researchers seen and found? Maybe we can conclude that nobody wants to feel different. We don't want to feel stupid, as Berge and Fagernes puts it. We don't want to feel that we are less intellectual. We need to feel that we are part of the society, that we are included, that we can be counted on, that we are smart, that we are good enough. So let's see at the books that we often give to people with reading difficulties. We often seem to talk about something called easy to read books. Easy to read, we can say. But maybe If you are struggling with reading, if you are a non-reader, if you have dyslexia, if you are a second language learner and you are given an easy to read book and you're struggling to read it, how does that feel? You can't even read the easy to read book. Another problem with using the term easy to read books is that this is a term that is used when it comes to books for small children, used to learn to read, because you haven't learned to read yet. These books are aimed at very young readers, from the age 6 and up to 8 maybe. And it's no fun for an adult or a young person to be given a book that reminds them of something for very small children. Sometimes we also talk about adapted books. But what is an adapted book? Well, an adapted book is usually a book that already exists, but is worked on in a way that makes it accessible for more people. For example, as we can see here in the slide, either with some signs to support the reading for people that use signs alongside with the written language, or with pictures you can feel, images you can feel, or braille, made for blind people or blind children. So, we use the term books for all. What is a book for all? A book for all is a book that invites everyone in. It is a book that can be read by anyone. But these books are also worked with in a special way so that more readers can read them. So that an adult with dyslexia can read it. Let's look at these books in the slide, for example. The first one is a book that includes young people with dyslexia. But it's also a book that really is good to read for any young person. The other one is a bilingual book in both Persian and Norwegian, and it works for everyone. And the third one is a Bible made for people with dementia, but it's so beautiful that everyone wants to read it. Books for all can make reading both more enjoyable and successful for all types of readers. For this approach to be successful, though, the books must be of high literary quality. So, we make books that are accessible in language and layout, but with a high literary level. This is a book for all. We adapt the books, not the reader, and we try to include everyone. To manage this, we use two methods that I will talk more about in the next video. The first one is making new books, high-quality new books for different readers in close collaboration with authors, illustrators, cartoonists and publishing houses. And the second one is book search, finding and recommending suitable books from the common book market. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.